Hey folks! I promise that the actual pieces are on time, it's just the videos that aren't. I'm still technically on schedule, I'm just doing, the personal goal of one piece a day, and the videos come out when they can. The prompt for day 8 is Star, and this is, so far, the biggest piece I've done. And though it's not very complicated in technical terms, it brought with it its own set of challenges. Last year during Inktober, I was using an unofficial prompt list, and one of the prompts from that list was also Star. And for that prompt, I redrew an old sketch I had done years ago of the North Star personified. What I didn't mention in that video was that I had also designed a sun and moon along with my North Star. They were all goddesses, I suppose you could call them. I didn't do anything with them, I just drew them and that was it. And they were all just bust pieces as well, like it was just the head and shoulders. I designed very little for all three of them. The piece this year was originally just going to feature my design for the sun goddess, since our sun is a star. Wow! And I went through a few sketches, erasing every single one because I just wasn't happy with the pose or how it looked or how I had designed the clothes because I hadn't designed any of those yet. And then I flipped the paper to landscape rather than portrait, and suddenly everything worked a lot better for me. I don't know why, but I guess sometimes flipping the canvas can make all the difference, I guess. Because of where I drew her on the paper, I felt as though there was more to her pose, and, I started thinking about why she was looking over her shoulder like that. I decided that she wouldn't be looking at the audience directly, but rather at something else, and that something became my moon goddess design. I had revamped both of their designs since drawing them, 3 years ago, but I kept the general concepts the same, so their crowns were very similar to how I originally drew them. That's, for some reason, the main thing that I focused on when I drew them the first time. I wanted them to have these big, intricate crowns. I think the moons originally had, a giant crescent moon on it, but it looked a bit, costumey, so I just sort of switched it to the one you see here that's, a plaited design, and then just, a jewel. Not sure what is it. Maybe it's a moonstone. Also, yes, both of them have incredibly long and impossibly long hair that, never really seems to stop. At least not when I draw them. It just goes on forever. It's just hair everywhere. Why do I love drawing hair so much? I had never really put much thought into their clothes, so that was actually really fun for me to design those parts. I wanted to keep it very simple. I wanted the focus to kind of be on their crowns and their faces. I especially like the sun's shawl, and, the sheer material that it's made out of. It's very pretty. Very classy. She's a classy gal. I always saw the moon as the more tranquil member of the pair. She's always calm and refined and very graceful, and while the sun is the same, there is definitely something burning within her that, sets her apart from the other celestial bodies. And I'm not sure what is in her expression in this particular piece. I think the way that I drew it can actually be interpreted a few different ways, but I can certainly say that there is or has been something between them, and that may be something that even they aren't aware of. This is the first piece during Inktober that I've done on an A4 sheet of paper. Apparently for y'all who don't go by English paper sizes, that's an 8x11? Maybe? I'm not sure, but regardless, it's much bigger than what I have been working on up until now. And although this size of paper let me, get a lot more detail into the sun's design, it left a lot of empty space that I was a little worried about. I know that I never draw backgrounds anyway, but I didn't want my two goddesses just standing in a void. With that being said, I soon realised that if I tried to add anything else to the piece, it would just be taking the focus away from the figures. In the end, I simply added those lines of light around the sun. It reminds me of those old religious illustrations where halos were just discs behind the head and light could be represented by a few block lines. I also found that those lines broke up the blank void of the background rather nicely, so I didn't mind just having the two figures for the eye to focus on. I'm not usually one for composition. I'm not entirely sure how it works and how to get a viewer to look at certain sections of a piece in a particular order. It's something that I'm still learning on and trying to improve on. And it was something that I was trying to implement in this piece, that the sun is the first thing that your eye focuses on because of the light and the way that she's standing and where she is on the page, and how her line of view leads the eye over to the foreground where the moon is. I was really happy with how the composition of this one went, and I feel like I'm improving slowly but surely. One day I'll try more complicated things, maybe with more than two characters. Ooh, that's the real spook. Intimidating. The inks I use in this piece, apart from the black, are all metallic. I have a silver and a gold, and I love the effects that these inks give, and they are just brilliantly opaque. The gold is much more impressive in my opinion, as it shimmers when you apply a particularly thick layer, and you can just water it down and get a different effect. The silver just sort of, it's kind of just there, but the gold is, gorgeous. Exquisite. Because the ink is so opaque, it was a little difficult to be able to still show, some sort of definition between the parts of the piece. Like where the folds in the fabric were, and what's in and out of shadow. I mostly did it for the effect, and that's the main thing. For everything that wasn't silver or gold, because obviously I wasn't going to paint everything in those colours, I just kept to the black ink. I just really watered it down, especially for the moon. A lot of things I wanted to keep very pale. In fact, originally I had wanted both of them to be really pale, as though they're both just shining constantly with light. But it sort of messed up the values of the piece, and I wasn't happy with leaving it like that. I thought everything was just sort of flat, it didn't have much depth. Honestly, I also think one of the reasons I originally wanted them both to be pale was because I was secretly scared of trying to add any kind of shading in case I sort of, ruined the line work. But I'm really glad that I added those other values. I love that the sun has, really dark hair. I think it really sort of gives her a great silhouette, especially in the gold dress. Wow. She just looks like a very impressive figure. I also gave my sun goddess a slightly darker skin tone in the end, because, I imagine a sun goddess would. Like anything associated with the sun would have a lot more pigment. And on the other side of that, I'm really happy that I kept the moon as pale as I did. It gives a great contrast to the two figures, and I really think that it suits the piece well. Because they're so different, like day and night. They're like two sides of the same coin. Also, I do have to call attention to this, and I do have to apologise, because I was forced to work in a horribly lit room because it got dark, and I lost the sunlight, and I don't have any better lighting, so I just had to use the light in my room, which was awful, and cast shadows all over the place. I really need to invest in a lamp. I'm working a lot this week at my day job, so that's why the uploading of the videos have been slow. I'm probably not going to get day 10 out on time either, but, hey ho, I'm still doing the pieces, doesn't have to be perfect. As long as I get them done, I still feel like I've accomplished something. What's this accent? Thank you so much for watching. I'm catching up slowly but surely with videos. I'm doing my best. Pop me a like or a cheeky subscribe if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more. You know, it's always appreciated. I hope you're having a lovely time wherever you are, and stay safe. Ta-ra!